When I give you a pre-approval letter, I give you a pre-approval letter that says, you've been pre-approved, and it doesn't have this big long laundry list of stuff we need to do first. It just basically says, bring me a property. It says you've been pre-approved for whatever, based on your debt to income ratios, which I'll look at, and those are important things because that's what keeps you from over leveraging yourself. I'll never let you go there, you know. Based on that, I'll say, okay, you can get $200,000 worth of houses, go out there. And you bring that letter in and it says, my closing turnaround time is between 1 and 3 days. So when you submit that to a bank or whoever you're trying to buy that property from, they know it's a hard money lender, so they're not worried about this property being distressed, and they know we can close it in like 3 days, okay? So you're gonna be able to get those offers pushed through much faster than if you were gonna use, you know, if you were gonna come there with a Wells Fargo pre-approval letter that my dog can get, you know, and go here, I'll close it in 45 days maybe. They don't want to have it out there for 45 days waiting while it's on the market, waiting for you to close and then have it not, you know, have it fall apart because of the repairs or something like that. No seller wants to deal with that. They'll always take the, I would always sell a house for $5,000 less to a cash buyer that I know it's going to close and I'm going to make my money and not have to have it on the market tied up all this time. But anyway, here's the difference. I showed you how to buy a house worth $100,000 and fix it up for 10 grand out of pocket, okay? You go with the bank, you're gonna spend 26. That's just a fact. Now, a lot of people wanna buy cash. Who thinks hard money's for people who don't have money? It's not. The borrowers that I had a borrower last week that had almost $3 million in the bank, like in a checking account and a savings account. He had just made like a $2 million deposit. He was one of these oil guys, and I think they end their fiscal year in November, and he made the deposit in December, whatever. It was probably his year-end bonus, but he had a W-2 at $2.2 million, and his W-2. Like, you don't see a W-2 like that. Usually when you get the high net worth, it's like their tax returns are like all messed up, and they got money in like, you know, everywhere, but it was a W-2. That's just what's coming over. That guy was buying a $75,000, that's what his loan was, $75,000 loan amount. You know, you don't, hard money, when Ross Perot builds a skyscraper, I mean, a lot of times they'll use hard money. That's development, that risky stuff when you're building that stuff, those are where hard money lenders come in. And if you think 16's high, commercial, the ceiling is 28% on commercial loans. Yeah. So it's pretty crazy, but here's cash versus hard money. There's a lot of guys that want to use cash, and I'm going to show you why. And it's safe, very, very safe. If you bought the same deal with cash and you sold it for 100 grand, you got to pay yourself back the cash you have into it, $73,769. That's what it would cost you. You got to pay your closing costs. You got to pay your prorated property taxes, and you got to pay, you know, your realtor costs. So you're going to be left with $18,000 in profit. You do the same deal with hard money, you got to pay off your loan and the money you have into it. You got to pay yourself back. Then you got $2,000. These are your carrying costs for that 3 months, 3 grand. That includes your taxes. A lot cheaper than a partner, right? $6,000 for realtor fees. You made $13,000. Okay? That's why people want to do the cash. Because you just left $4,367 on the table that you would have had extra if you would have done the deal cash. That's money that you paid for an appraisal, your points, your $3,000 in cost or whatever that you had to carry it. That money went to me, the skeleton. All right? But we'll get back to Warren Buffett here when we're talking about risk versus reward. Okay? Here's why people use hard money at 16%. How much did you risk to make that 18 grand when you were using cash?
73,000.
If you bought it all cash with no loan, you took $73,000 out of your bank account and you made 18 grand. That's an ROI, return on investment, of 24%. Okay? That's like you put $100 into an investment and you got your $100 back, plus you got $24. Okay? It's going to be a lot better than blows the socks off of like day trading, and you probably got more exercise. instead of doing this, running around looking at houses. But anyway, same exact deal, same house. You decide to go hard money lending on it. How much did you risk? Out of your own pocket in cash? 10 grand, right? Yeah. Plus you spent $3,000 in change on some carrying costs and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. Carrying costs payable monthly?
Monthly.
That was the total for 3 months? Is that what we're assuming?
Yeah, I think I threw like an extra $300 in there too. I can't remember why. I think because there was 3 inspections in there, and every time you get a draw inspection to draw money out, it's $99 because the inspector's got to go over there. Usually people just get one at the end, but sometimes people will get a bunch of them. But anyway, but the payments are monthly, just like a mortgage, and it includes your taxes. So that's what you risked, or that's what you risked right there. Actually, I didn't throw the extra money in there. I'm sorry. That's what you risked right there, and that's what you made. Okay. You risked $13,000, you made $13,000. That's 104% return on your money. You just doubled your money. You put that $100 into it, you got $100 back plus another $100. That's why the guy with the $3 million in the bank is financing a $75,000 house at a 16% interest rate, right? Because he knows he can do a ton of these. He knows he's not gonna, he's gonna get a lower return. That's probably why he has $3 million and I mean, maybe it's because he got lucky with oil, but one house. Let's say you're doing this thing with cash, right? Ooh, I messed up on the profit. So, but anyway, it's supposed to be $18,000. Let's say you mess up, right? It's your first house. You know, on your first house, if you make $1, it's a success, right? You know, if you buy houses like this, it's kind of hard to mess up. But if you make $1, you're going to make a lot of money on your next one because you'll get. It'll be a lot cheaper than like a $10,000 like seminar or something like that, you know, because you're going to actually you're going to get the reality, the real deal, just like they tell you. You know, 90% of it is actually doing it. So anyway, let's say you mess up, you make $1 on this one. You've just lost 90 days of your life, right? But with hard money, and you risked $79,000. You got it all back, luckily, but you know, you made nothing except for experience. You could buy 4 houses with hard money. Okay, let's say you got 100 grand in the bank. You can only buy one of those houses, right? You're limited to what should be $18,000 in profit, right? If you use hard money and you risk $52,000, I think that's a good risk to risk ratio. If you've got 100 grand in the bank, you should probably never risk more than $52,000, for instance, right? In
the bank, are you including like 401ks and that sort of thing? Or are you talking about cash?
I'm including 401k, okay, in terms of reserves. You can do that, and the only reason I say that, and I don't like to think in terms like that with 401ks and things like that, because that should be untouchable money. You know, that should be like zero risk money. But when you refinance, it's helpful because the bank will consider that, as long as it's not tied up in like a self-directed IRA and in some house in Mesquite, you know, as long as it's in a liquid form, the bank, when they refinance you, they will use that as reserves. They will consider those reserves. And if you're over the age of, what's the IRA? I don't even know, 59, 59 and a half? Yeah. If you're over that age, then it all counts. Absolutely. You should be using it, actually. For $52,000, you can buy 4 houses, and you can make the payments on the 4 houses. And you can make $66,000 risking less money. Even if you just, like, let's say 2 of these went wrong and you didn't make money on them because you messed up, but 2 went right. You still made $33,000. So that's safety. You can find safety in leverage because you're diversifying your assets. You're not putting all your eggs in one basket, you're putting it in 4, okay? And real estate, especially buying houses, is something where you got to have the scale. I mean, you talk to this guy with finishing touches, Blake, he'll tell you about scale. He's got like what, 10 crews, you know? He does all these houses for people. And I'm talking in the sense of owning a business and doing something like that, but same thing is true with running these houses. You're flipping houses, that's same thing. You want to have a scale, and one way you can scale it up is through leverage. Forgot where the next part was. Oh yeah, okay. This stuff right here, I know people that are buying houses and flipping them, you know, because I see them every day. We do loans on them every day. I'm not scared to buy, fix, sell. I'm happy to do loans for people that want to buy stuff, fix it, and sell it up. But one day, there's some bad parts to this, and I'll tell you what they are right now. Everything is good, bad, and ugly. You know, there's nothing that's the best thing out there. The negative aspect of investing like this is you're going to pay up the wazoo to Uncle Sam. You're going to kiss a third of that goodbye. You're paying income tax, and you're paying self-employment tax on those deals. You're moving them. The other negative aspect is if you're flipping, you know, 4 houses at a time and you decide next year I just don't want to flip houses anymore, how much money are you making?
0.
Nothing. And you know what that makes this? It makes it a job. It's not an investment. You're not building wealth. You're just working. You're just hustling, really, you know? And if you want to spend time with your kids and you want to live the lifestyle, you know, there's another strategy that I want to show you. And that's the buy, fix, rent. And that's what I like. And right now, especially, is when this is super powerful. I'm sorry, you can hardly see this. I'm going to refinance this note. Remember, the loan was $65,000, right? We're going to refinance it, and you're going to pay some closing costs. So it's going to be $66,950. That's what I've calculated the closing cost to be when you refinance. But you're not going to pay that out of your pocket. They're going to roll that right in. Your rent's going to be $1,000 a month. Houses typically rent for about 1% of the after repair value until you get to a value of about $150,000 and above. Excuse me. Right now, it's a little bit higher. Believe it or not. If you've seen the newspaper, all these articles about how rent rates are going up and all that everywhere. Your pity payment is going to be $603, okay? Your cash flow, what you're going to make is going to be $397. That doesn't take into account, you know, vacancies and maintenance or anything like that. But roughly about $400. I don't know about you, but I don't get real pumped up when I think, you know, after 90 days, my first check I get in the mail net is $400. I don't get that excited. I was getting excited before when it was like $13,000, $18,000, right? So it's not a good way to build up big reserves real fast. But if you're patient, and this is how you build wealth, you're going to make $4,769 per year on that annual cash flow. You're also going to open the door to a bunch of write-offs, okay? Now remember I said a business, or owning a house is just like owning a business. There's 2 ways to make money. You can increase revenue, or you can decrease expenses. And what's left over in the middle is called profit. And the biggest expense you can decrease sometimes is your taxes. Now there's probably 50 different things, I'm not a tax accountant, that you can write off, but here's 3 of the easiest ones that for me to explain. You can write off all your closing costs. Actually, you can write off your cost of your gas to drive. If you're buying something in Las Vegas, you can write off your plane ticket on the way to get the dang thing. You can write off all your closing costs. You can write off all the interest on your hard money loan. Now, I'm not going to get into the interest payments after that because it's kind of a wash. That's one of the big misnomers things. But you can write off your refinancing closing costs. You can write all that off. You can pretty much write off until you hit the point where you exceed the cash that you've put into the deal. One of the real cool things you can write off is you can depreciate your whole rehab. And the thing that you can depreciate immediately is all the labor. Okay? And that's about half of your rehab usually. You can depreciate a roof over, I think, like 10 years. You can depreciate paint and carpet, I think, over like 5 years. So you get these depreciation scales that kind of wind down, and you get those tax write-offs into the future.